What's up, everybody? Welcome to our new podcast, Rollin with the Homies. Chris Holdsworth and Cody No Love Garbrandt. Man, we've been homies for a long time. You know, Cody's one of my best friends, and it's time we come together. We talk about mixed martial arts. We talk about lifestyle. We talk about old stories.
OG stories. I don't know if the Rollin with the Homies fans are.
They're not ready.
Ready
They're not
for
ready.
this.
We might give some rated R stuff.
Yeah, we go way back to 2013, man. This
we'll
is
see.
We've been speaking this into existence for so many years about Rollin with the Homies podcast, things that can extend from this. Eventually, we'll be going on the tour Rollin with the Homies, where we come to gyms, show technique, do seminars. So look for that at future dates, and we're excited to break down a lot of martial arts lifestyle and OG stories between me and Chris.
Yeah, so the main purpose of this, of course, me and Cody come together. We can talk about, what Cody's got coming up for fights, his dog business, what I got going on in my teaching life, on the mats, traveling, for corner
relationship life,
relationships,
lady man over here.
All the good, yeah, this guy's talking, right? Yeah, we just want to talk, come together. And like he said, we want to turn this into an actual traveling show where we go to local gyms and we train and we showcase academies and gyms and instructors and showcase some rolling and some questions and cool stuff and give you guys some cool content. So that's kind of the goal. We want to start with the podcast and just kind of talk and talk to everybody out here in the podcast world. So I think a first good topic for just to talk about is how we met. When you first came to the team, what year was that? Like 2013?
Yep, 23 years old.
Yeah, so Cody first came to Sacramento 2013. Yeah. I think I was fresh off of winning the Ultimate Fighter.
No, you're getting ready.
Yeah,
you just come off you're going into the finale.
Okay, yeah.
And I remember that because I was a year off of injuries and laying out. I was at a gym and I was like, you know what? I spent a year of injury and being down. I'm like, I got to go out to this gym. This is Team Alpha Male. They got the who's who. You had TJ Dillashaw, Uriah Faber, Danny Castillo, Chad Mendez, Joe Benavidez, Lance Palmer. The list goes on and on. And those were the standout guys that I knew, coming out to the gym. I remember going with a lot of them early on when I first stepped foot into the gym. Just the energy and the camaraderie they had was great. The practices were amazing. They were flowing everything together. This was a legit team. Legit structured team, guys that were just highly motivated to be the best. Going with a lot of them, feeling really well. Come to like my third or fourth round sparring with Chris Holdsworth. Took my back, choked me out right away, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" I didn't know Chris. I'm not into like jiu-jitsu at the time, and wasn't really fairly following a lot of the pros. Like I said, Chris just was on the Ultimate Fighter, ran through it. Didn't know that he just finished up the season, was getting ready for the finale, and this dude was on a tear. I mean, what he was doing inside the gym, outside of the gym, he was a complete martial artist. That's what I wanted to be. I didn't grow up in, jiu-jitsu, dojo, practitioner, learning like that. I grew up, with the Bob Me Sprawl and Brawl. We grew up fighting on the streets, wrestling rooms, boxing, sparring, boxing matches. So it was a little bit different from the martial arts that Chris was from, the background that he came from, and legit martial artist to the fullest definition, black belt. And what he was doing out here was just amazing. Like I said, he was giving everybody fits. So I wanted to be the best. So, kind of just shadowed with him everything, his diet, the way he trained. I mean, this guy was going to the gym 4 or 5 times a day. I ended up coming out my second trip, staying with him, and we were. Yeah,
let's talk about that real quick because I kind of want to go off a couple of different topics here. Like, I bet people want to know what it feels like to come to a gym that, you've seen people on TV. You've seen, like, you kind of look up to the guys that you may, potentially that are in your weight class. Right. Like, I know when I first came to Sacramento, I was, a little intimidated. Yeah. I knew I can, hold my own, but, I came in first practice, everyone's got their shirts off. And, I'm like, damn, there's Uriah, like, there's Chad, there's Lance. All these guys look like models, Like, I'm like, dude, like, where am I at? And then, like, right away, Uriah comes up to me. He's like, what are you doing here? Because we kind of knew each other from the grappling scene. And I told him, I was like, I just moved out here. So I wasn't intimidated. So, like, I remember when you first came, I was watching, you came with Mick, right?
Yeah, Mick,
a guy who was helping you out at the time. And I remember you were just jacked. Like you were like
Lifting.
probably 175 pounds.
I never got that big. I was
No.
probably 165.
All right,
Yeah.
but that's big now because like you're 145 now,
Yeah.
so like 165, like 20 pounds of muscle on you, like you look fucking yoked.
I did nothing but lift for a whole year.
Yeah, yeah. So when I first saw you, I was like, damn, who's this dude? Like he looks pretty jacked. Like he looks like he just came out of the jail or like prison. He's got neck tats and stuff. I was like, what's his story? Because when you've been training with the team for a while and you always see new guys come in, you always kind of wonder, like, all right, who's this guy? Like, what's his story? Like, what's his background? Because then you try to figure it out. In my head, I'm like, all right, this guy's a wrestler. What do I need to do? Like, I need to figure out. So when we spar, I kind of know, it's a competitive thing. We're all fighters. We're trying to get the better of each other. So I remember seeing it. I was like, man, what's this guy's story? But and then
Chris was trying to fuck.
But dude, we ended up becoming really good friends. Yeah. And I remember like I think you kind of saw like the success that people were having. Like, man, I got to do what these guys are doing.
Right.
And I told you about my situation. I was living with a guy, Eric, who was helping me out at the time. Mm-hmm. Bless Eric. He did a lot of great things for me. And you were able to rent a room from him and
stayed in his office.
Yeah.
Pull out couch office. Chris left me, man. Chris would go to bed at like 8 p.m. after practice. I'm like, oh, I'm just here. Up.
I know. I look back at that and I'm like, but that's just how it was for me. Like that's all I knew is like training. I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't know anything. Like never had a relationship before. All I knew is like training, sleeping early, eating right.
Beating off profusely in between training sessions. I'm like, Chris, what are you doing? Oh, hey, come use the bathroom. I'm like, Chris, like, hey, give me a minute. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll be up later.
Dude,
okay,
that's funny. When I first came, like Danny kept saying, like he was like, oh, I just caught the new guy beating off again.
Last call is absolutely the worst with just banter and that shit. First thing I remember, he was on me hardcore.
Right away, I was on his hit list, and I was
same
just like,
here,
man,
we
I cannot get this guy off me.
Yeah,
if you guys don't know who Danny Castillo is, former WC, UFC fighter, had a ton of fights, and he's one of the head coaches here for Team Alpha Male. Great former fighter and coach, and a good friend of both of ours. Has been in Cody's corner a ton. A great friend of mine. So
we all want to.
I want to have. Eventually, we're going to be having guests on the podcast as well. Sure. I want to have Danny on. I just talked to Elkins today. He was like, "Bring me on, brother."
Yep. Yeah. Lance the Party Palmer.
Yeah.
Via Skype or Zoom.
Yeah. So I want to start having guests on the podcast, and because I think you guys don't really know a lot of our backstory, but you don't know a lot of these other guys' backstory.
How we all mesh together. It's crazy. We're all, different dirt molecules just floated together. Came from the mud, trying to climb up top of the mountain together, and we all, migrated to Sacramento, California. I literally thought Sacramento, California, or California in general, was all surfing. You got the California kid, Uriah Faber, looks like a surfer. I get out here, I'm like, man, the beaches. I'm from Ohio, Midwest. I thought we were gonna go to the beach. They always have their shirts off. The weather looks awesome. There's no beach around. He sold me on that, but
yeah.
Besides the point, like this is a great city. I love being here. Sacramento is a new home for me. I had my child here. A lot of good things have came from Sacramento. Truly love it. The atmosphere. But a lot of everyone just is different the way they came up and grew up, and
we're a different family. Man. Everyone comes from different places and different backgrounds,
different walks of
life.
life.
And I think that's what makes it super unique. Is like we all come together and form something that. Not a lot of other places have,
Yeah.
So I think that's what really makes our team unique.
Gangbang City. Gangbang City.
Dude, one thing, what's funny is like when I first heard about the California kid and Uriah, I was like, California kid, he looks like a surfer skater. I was like, dude, he's got to smoke dank, but he doesn't. People get that confused. Like,
I've got him high a few times, bro. I've got him high a few times. Like I said, remember after I won the belt, I was like, you got to get high with me. And I was coaching TJ. And he got high, and he like nonstop ate. I remember Danny cooked salmon for us. I had other coaches there. I think Bob even got contact high, but man, Uriah was so stoned. He was like kept like thinking his eyes were closed, and just like Bob kept telling
apples, bro. He ate like 5 apples.
Bro, he ate like 5 apples, yeah, for sure. Just kept mouthing them, and Bob kept telling the same story about a girl that he was banging, and he thought she farted, but she queefed, and Bob just kept going. I thought you farted to the girl, and Uriah was like, I cannot believe, is he telling the same story? I'm like, yes, it was that altercation of that. It just was just too funny. But yeah, doesn't smoke weed regularly or do any THC. Maybe a beer here and there, but yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty.
We're the burners on the team. If you can't tell, we're rolling with the homies, legit.
So yeah, I want to talk about a little bit of your grappling background and come up. I don't think people really know that you wrestled your whole life. You know, they hear a little bit you boxed here and there and you wrestled, but I think growing up in Ohio, you and your brother, like I just found this out, like you guys have like hundreds of wrestling matches.
Right.
Like your uncles and your stepdad told me like they would go to you guys would go to tournaments every weekend.
Yeah, we kind of fell in love with the sport early on. Our team had like 1 week of training, and then that Saturday you wrestled everybody that was like a 5-pound radius of your weight class. Yeah. So everybody in our school wrestled. That was like kind of like what the school did. Like you had a week that the high school wrestlers would teach you moves, and you would go on the weekend and wrestle each other. So me and Zach would always win, we were good. And then we figured out found out there was like more like dual teams that were the New Philadelphia. Coach Slarb had a dual team, so we went there, and they went to every Sunday. They went and wrestled every other team and had practices. So got into this world of wrestling with open tournaments, and it went to like, oh, there's open tournaments, there's state tournaments, there's national tournaments, and it just the wrestling world kind of opened up to us, and we fell in so much love with it. It was just one of those.
This is Ohio.
This is in Ohio. We were 4th grade when we really hit it hard wrestling. My mom, my adopted father, Tim, really, my grandparents, a lot of people in our family really sacrificed a lot for us to be able to get the money for the tournaments, the travel, the national teams, the wrestling shoes, I mean.
That's what a lot of people don't understand is like the backside of like, kids growing up their whole life wrestling. You got to thank their parents and the people who supported them, because if they didn't have their parents going every weekend, showing up to every practice, all the money that it takes to buy all the gear, the time, like those kids wouldn't be anywhere where they're at. And, a lot of people don't see that. And, kudos to all the parents who,
for sure. I
think it's important to give your kids choices, of course, and not force them to do things. But at the same time, like the parents need to
be present, and being there. And that's one thing my mom was always, if she didn't have the funds to make her be able to go and do it, like she would make sure that we would. I used to be, as a young kid, be so upset I didn't get to go and wrestle this kid because, I knew next week in Wheeling, West Virginia, he was going to be at that tournament. He beat me by a point, and I was just so excited that all these other good kids that winning these big trophies and stuff and being the best. We're going to be at this tournament. I was like, oh, we don't have the money. We have the funds to go to this one. I used to be so upset, but I remember like waking up on Christmas Day and, Easter, we'd have, wouldn't have obviously the candy and things like that, but we'd have new wrestling singlet or a new pair of wrestling shoes. Like, so there was always like, not that, those are motivating factors, but it's nice, man, getting nice new shoes, going out there and like, oh man, like you work. And I valued the hard work that it took for them to get that, and for me to be like, I got these brand new shoes. I'm not gonna let them go to waste. I gotta sit in my closet. I'm not gonna quit after I get pinned in 2 tournaments. Yeah. Like a lot of kids and parents let their kids quit. I don't know, okay, quit. That's one thing my mom never let us do. Whatever we get started, we had to finish. No matter if we were horrible, we weren't the starter. If you want to work your way up and become the starting running back, starting quarterback, whatever, starting wrestling. That's why I love wrestling. It wasn't a team; it was you. You're at that weight class. You have other, adversaries or your teammates trying to battle for that position. They have to beat you in a wrestle off. That's what was so great about wrestling. I'm the best because I won this spot. Now it's on me. So she never let us quit any sport, and I think that at an early age never let us quit when things got going tough.
And that's such an important lesson.
Huge.
A lot of these parents don't teach their kids that. They don't teach them hard work, and they don't lead by example. I think leading by example is one of the most important things a parent can do. Like, you got to show your kid, like, you're the parent. They look to you for they want to grow up to be like their dad. Like, I wanted to be like my dad. I wanted to be like, my older siblings or whatever. So you have to be a great role model in being a parent as well, and teach them the hard work, teach them the discipline, and also don't give them those easy way outs, quitting because, either something happened and they don't like what's going on or whatever's happening. And,
or John, I should be the starter of football. His mom goes down there and bitches the coach. Like, all right, well, this coach like, I don't want to deal with this bitch the rest of the season. Like, your kid's starting and he sucks. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it is. And you see that kind of in sports and team sports as football, baseball, whatever other sports that are our team. But wrestling was just one of those things. You're grinding on the mats at 8, 9 years old. You're head in the match. You're getting slammed on your head. You're getting concussed. Like you're hand-to-hand combat without the punches. And really, you know, I mean, sometimes I fought a lot. I fought a lot growing up. I fought with my brother growing up in wrestling, teammates. That's why I was so surprised when Lance said they never really fought anybody because he grew up in wrestling. He's a 4-time state champion, St. Edwards, 4-time All-American, Ohio State. He's never really punched someone like with malicious hate. And besides his first pro fight, I was like, bro, you're fucking nuts, dude. Like, you're crazy. Like, you just like, I'm going to go here and fight this guy. I've never been in a fight. Gotta love Lance. But, you know, with the wrestling, it's just that culture. It's like a dog-eat-dog world. I mean, survival of the fittest. You want this spot, you go out and earn it. You know, and it's a gritty sport. Wrestling's gritty. I think that's why in mixed martial arts, it's one of the highest best base to have, you know, because you are on the mats and you get those life lessons that you can't get on the streets or in school. You know, I learned a lot, you know, growing up in the wrestling room.
Yeah, for sure. I want to segue to a little story time because this was like right around kind of when you first moved to Sacramento. Our first Austin, Texas trip together.
Oh God!
I remember
Chris was balling, man. He was balling out there.
Check this out. So this was 2014. This was like November 2014.
Yeah.
And I think I had maybe just had I think my last fight was in May of 2014.
Yep.
So I was rolling from the cash from Ultimate Fighter. I still had money for my last fight. And I got to Joseph Benavidez was fighting Dustin Ortiz in Austin, Texas. And I'd already had a relationship with the On It guys. So anytime I can go to Austin, Texas, we made it happen.
Shout out to Aubrey.
Yeah.
And the On It family.
So I hit the UFC up. I got 2 tickets to Austin, Texas. And I was like, man, who can I invite with me? And I was like, let me ask Cody. Yeah. And Cody was just coming up. I think he had just had a couple pro fights.
I was 5-0. I just finished my 5th professional fight by knockout. I was like trying to figure out where I was going, what organization was going to sign me.
So you had some steam behind you, right? He was 5-0. He was training with the team already. So, you know, of course, like the local matchmakers and probably the UFC matchmakers have already heard about you. And I was like, let's see. So Cody was down to come with. All right. So I ended up flying this. I was in Canada teaching a seminar because I remember I got this tattoo. I got this whole tattoo. And this segues into another story. Like, if you hang out with Cody long enough, you'll start getting a ton of tattoos.
His mom was so mad.
I had 1 tattoo before I knew Cody, and now I have probably 6. And that guy's probably a lot of people like.
Yeah, I bet.
All his brothers got like the same tats.
Yeah, we're all tatted.
But so I had just got this whole tattoo. I went from Canada. I flew to Austin with like saran wrap over my arm. And I rented the best rental car I can get at the time. It was a Dodge Magnum Charger with red interior. Yeah, it was like a V8 Hemi. Ooh. I was like, let's go. Like, we're in Austin. I want to roll nice, right?
Hell yeah.
So I don't know if I picked you up.
Picked me up
at
the On It Academy.
Yeah.
We just got done working out. Chris pulls up in the whip. He's like, get in, loser. You know, he goes, get in. We're going to the hotel. We had hotel.
But tell him about like all the donuts.
Oh yeah. We get in. I park in. Like Chris is like, he's got the rental. He's like, you gonna do some donuts? I'm like, fuck yeah, I do some donuts. We were just out there just ripping donuts. Yeah,
I've never been in a V8 like a Charger. Like, I've had like little.
I was a little scared. I was a little scared.
A little cheap Honda Civic. Like. So I was rolling with this thing, on it, and we end up going to the fights. No, we actually Cody meets up with Sean Shelby. Yeah. I don't know how you link that up.
Well, Joe, I went out there with Joe.
Yeah.
Joe needed a training partner.
Oh, that's what it was from.
He was fighting Ortiz. Yeah. And then you were coming out. So I was like, let's go make a trip. You had the tickets.
I had the tickets to the show. That's what
you got. To the show, right. So I was out there with Joe helping out. And then I ran into Sean Shelby. He was sitting at lunch. And my management at the time was like, we don't know if we have the fight or not. Like, we went and met Sean. And they're like making a huge, big deal about it, like, it's not set in stone. Like, we're gonna meet him, see what he thinks. I sit down and talk to Sean. Sean's sitting at the restaurant inside the hotel eating. And I was like, oh man, like coming up with Mike at the drawing a blank his name, previous manager that was under Uriah. Go up to Sean. He's sitting there eating. He's like, hey, so basically it was like, yeah, so you want to fight? I'm like, hell yeah, when's the fight? It's like January was like in January. I'm like, oh, perfect, awesome, yeah. Because I literally just got done fighting, had some injury, I was recovering, so it was perfect timing. It was just that easy as that. My manager's like, oh, wait, don't release it, don't tell anybody, until with the contract signed, they get pissed about that. I fucking called my mom right away, like, hey, we're going to UFC, like, we gotta get some flights booked, on the John Jones DC card. It was my debut against Marcus Brimage, so that was just cool. Like, Austin going there, being with the part of the On It, company, training with them, Chris coming out, which is a good time. Joe ended up having a big win with Dustin Ortiz. Got signed that day. We had a great time. Even the after party went out after. This guy with the Jeremiah Reds.
Yeah, like those are one of my favorite beers, and like I don't drink often. Anybody who knows me personally, like I'm not a drinker.
Lightweight.
But like when I do, if we go to BJ's Brewhouse and Brewery, like I love their Jeremiah Reds, like, and it's hard for me just to have one of them. I'll end up having like two. But then if I have that third one,
blacked out.
No, things get a little
carrying them out of BJ's.
Things get a little crazy. And that night, I think I had a few. And I remember it was wild. We met up with some girls and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Chris had some girls lined up. He had the car lined up. He was playing. He was like, "Bro, we got this." Yeah, dude, Chris had a good time.
Yeah, but I remember another thing that stands out about that trip was the day after. That dude, I was so hungover, and I don't drink. And like I was throwing up, like I remember, like,
so this is embarrassing, man.
Dude, it was so embarrassing. And so like we went to go eat breakfast, and like I was having a hard time. And then all of a sudden, I don't know how, like Dwayne, my old coach Dwayne Ludwig, he was in Austin at the time, and I don't know how we ended up like messaging that morning. He was like, "Ninja, I need you to come to On It and help me film some videos." And I looked at Cody. It was like 8:30 in the morning, and I was like, "Bro, there's no way. There's no way."
Yeah.
And
he was up pounding cheeks all night, throwing up in the morning. His coach calls him. He's got to go do instructional video for On It and Dwayne. I'm like, oh man, this sucks.
So I was like,
hey, black belt lifestyle. This fool went up there, did it, was hungover, throwing up, poker faced it.
I used Cody for my demonstrator. You guys can probably find those videos on like On It's Academy old. I showed like a little basic shrimp and like a body lock to take down, but I was so hungover when we filmed that, and my arm was like literally just tattooed and all raw. And it's funny. And then right after that, Dwayne had me like, he was holding like mitts for me. And anybody knows Dwayne, his combos and shit can get really confusing sometimes. Like he'll boom, 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 and he'll expect you to know it. And dude, I was hungover as shit. And like he was telling me to do like some new combos from Southpaw. And I was like, Dwayne, let's dumb it down, please. Like, let's shut this down because like I'm way. But
he was probably all zipped on caffeine and some THC.
He's like, Ninja. He's like, well, come on. I was like, damn, all right, well, let's go.
Give me a bow.
But
that was great.
Yeah, man, that was a great trip. It was a good little story, and we got plenty of stories like that.
So many.
Man, me and Cody have lived together twice.
Ooh.
Yeah, we'll say it. We don't want to give everyone like all the stories just yet, but we got tons of stories, and I think it's cool to kind of like hear our lifestyle type stuff, and not just hear about like MMA.
Yeah,
like
MMA, the fights. Those are great. Those are things that are coming up, but the backstory, how we came to be friends, what we're looking to do now with Rolling with the Homies, the podcast, going on tour, traveling the world, possibly seeing new talents, up and coming fighters, showcasing seminars, gyms. So we're excited. There's a lot of good things that will come from this. We hope that you keep, tuning in, enjoying our content. Like I said, 2013, we got some crazy stories and a lot of good times to share with y'all.
Yeah. All right, let's finish off with this topic here. I want to talk about the main event this past weekend. Brunson gets the rear naked choke over Darren Till. And if you guys watch Fight Picks with the Pros, I called that. I called that last week. I was like, hey, Darren Till is going to get his grappling exposed. Brunson's no joke. People count Brunson out, and I've told people
5 straight.
Yeah, I was like
5 straight as the underdog.
And
5 straight as the underdog.
He's a black belt, and his striking and his wrestling is no joke. And I knew he was gonna wear him out and eventually get those takedowns. Yes. He got tired because Till was able to work back up to his feet, and he was able to use his striking a little bit.
Right.
But the vet that Brunson is and the good wrestler, he got those takedowns. Finally got the mount
Yep.
He got that double leg against the cage, bounced him off the cage.
Bounced him off, pulled his legs out. He was so good at that, not letting, if you're in martial arts, you know this, that cage is a wall you can kind of lay against, and you'd be really heavy there if you can know how to use the cage, defending a takedown. Brunson gets the hands locks, sweeps the legs out from the cage where he can't, when he drops him, he don't scoot back to the cage and wall walk back up the cage. Takes him to the center, all open space, and that's his game. And he goes to work with, the jiu-jitsu side. But after all those takedowns, he just got wore out, and then kind of like on that last one going to the third, he kind of just gave his back. Got
the ground and pound, though. The ground and pound in the first couple rounds, I think that's what really got Brunson tired. He almost had Till finished. From the half guard, just what I went over in the Tuesday's pro practice, shelving that leg, that inside leg that's caught in half guard, shelving that leg and raining down ground and pound. Brunson did a great job of that. And Till, being the tough guy he is, he was able to weather that storm. But Brunson just kept the pressure forward, kept the wrestling pressure, ended up getting that takedown against the cage, got to mount, and then from there he just landed some shots. Till gave his back pretty easy in my opinion, but when you got a guy like Brunson on top of you raining bombs, that's all you want to do is give your back, because you don't want to get punched in the face.
Punched, elbowed, socked up. Live to fight another day, maybe there's some things going on that he was tired from.
Wrist ride, boom.
5-round fight. That's another thing. You guys don't understand, a 5-round fight is 25 minutes. That is a long duration of a fight. That's no joke. Just the mental, physical, emotional prep leading into that. Then you have another guy, sometimes the fight goes his way better, and that's happened. So kudos to Darren Till. Kudos to Derek Brunson, 5 straight as the underdog. Very excited for his resurgence. Super happy. Great guy. Family man, owns his own gym, doing a lot of big things. Love the blonde dyed hair. He's rocking it. Just a good dude. And also, man, I like to highlight Paddy the Batty. I like this dude. I mean, I thought that his fight was entertaining. He was almost hurt. He says he's a sorcerer. They don't get knocked out. Ended up finishing his opponent. And then, he jumped on the mic and did his thing with,
Yeah, I loved, man. Like, anytime a personality like this comes into the UFC, they automatically gain the fan. He gained a fan in me.
Yeah, for sure.
He got wobbled a little bit, but anybody can get wobbled in a UFC fight. You're fighting guys at the highest level.
Yes.
You can get clipped. But you coming back from that shows you that, for one, you're tough as nails and you can take a shot, and you have the resilience to keep coming forward after being rocked, and you can overcome, right?
Definitely.
So he showed that he's not he wasn't a pussy and just got rocked and found a way out.
Oh shit!
We've seen guys do that before. So I love the personality. Him talking on the mic. I can tell Bisping got in there and try to put the flame out a little bit.
A little hater at times, but it's all right. He has to play that good versus evil kind of thing. So he says his debut, but let him do his thing. Paddy the Batty. How do you like me now? How do you like me now? And then boom with the suck it. That was cool, man.
that was good.
I watched that like 5 times. That little GIF that they were running on ESPN. I was dying laughing the whole time. I was like, I like this kid. Let's see how far he goes with some other fights, other adversaries. As he climbs up, he's saying he's the cash cow.
So let's finish with this, because now that we're talking about Paddy with the Batty.
Paddy with the Batty?
Paddy Batty.
Paddy the Batty.
Paddy the Batty. Sorry about that. And I'm seeing our boy Ricky, Tursos coming out, showing his personality.
Karaoke singing at the
press. Freebird. I just saw
horrible,
him throwing,
but hey, he did it.
Hadoukens, and his speeches afterwards are great. How important is this on camera personality now?
It's everything. I think it's a different generation coming in. You have to be loud and outspoken, and to gain fans, to gain people that don't like you, because no matter what, the Coben Covingtons, the Conor McGregors, these guys that are, brash, and for me, I wear my heart on the sleeve, so
you say whatever the fuck
I'll say whatever the fuck I want to say, and I'm like, say it before I don't even think about it. I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, that's why people love you, though.
Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I think having these kind of characters in the sport are great. More eyes, more views. It's like, man, I gained a fan for sure on that. And, it's WME. They want these They want these superstars.
Yeah.
They want the people that are going to be able to. What is it about? Moving the tickets. Who can move these tickets? Who can press these pay-per-view buys? It's the guys that are all people viewing. You know, they might not be fighting the best guys. You know, look at Sean O'Malley. You know, people want to see him fight. You know, he's fighting not the tough, you know, the tough guys, and and rightfully so. He knows what will happen, and also he doesn't get paid differently. So his management, his team, his coaches are doing an amazing job building this kid up, getting him the right fights. He's doing the mic shit, you know, playing the heel, playing this, playing that. Oh, for sure, you know, and you can't be mad at that guy or upset at that kid. Good for him, get his money. And just like everybody, go out there and get your money. Go out and get paid. This career could be so short, so ending. Anything can happen. You can, the training that it takes to just prepare for a UFC fight, you don't know what's gonna happen. So get paid, do your stuff, and make it rain. How you like me now?
All right, guys, that's our first episode of Rolling with the Homies. We're gonna be doing an episode a week. I want you guys to comment, ask us some questions, give us some ideas to talk about. We can always use some topics to talk about, and we're gonna collaborate on cool stuff to talk about. Upcoming fights, past fights. And I want to start doing live breakdowns, short little breakdowns of previous main events or cool submissions or finishes, and something Cody can give some of his expertise on, and some things I can share some stuff on, and we'll throw that in the video portion of some of these future videos. So
right on.
Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Do whatever you gotta do to follow Rolling with the Homies. Cody Garbrandt, Chris Holdsworth. We'll see you next time.
Episode 1 done.